YouTube friends. My name is Constance and this is Cruelty Free Musings. Welcome back to my channel and to a Project Pan update. Today we are going to be sharing I am going to be sharing with you my month of progress from the month of August on all of the things that I have in my project pan. The concept of a project pan is to use things up that might be getting a little bit older, or to get more use out of things that are not as exciting as the new things that you're acquiring, and therefore might have fallen by the wayside. You can want to use them up. You can just want to make them look a little bit more used, for example by hitting pan. This particular project pan is associated with teamprojectpan, which is a rolling full face project pan which was started by Kat and Hailey of Beauty News. It is a full face rolling project pan, rolling meaning you have your number of items, and whenever you hit your goal on something, whether that's to hit pan or to use it up, you roll it out and then you add something else in, so you always have the same number of items. And then full face means that you can generally use the items in your project pan and put on a full face of makeup at the end of your full face. At the end of using all of your project pan items. My particular iteration is a 9-item project pan because this is my first year-long project pan, and I thought, let's start small, and I think that was a good decision. So I don't always have a full face of makeup proper in my pan, in part because I don't find everything that compelling to work on. Lipsticks, for example, my vice. Eyeshadows, my secondary vice. I don't necessarily want to stick to the same one all the time. But I have had those in this project in the past, and it has had all of the components of a full face in it in the past. Alright, without any further ado, let us get into the update. Alright, let's start with the, so we're going to go from most exciting things that I've hit my goal on, to I have made progress on, to I have zero progress on, and at the end I will introduce any items for the things that I have hit my goal on. Alright, let's start with the one item that I have in fact hit my goal on. Da-da-da-da! Look, it's the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is the shade Light, and look at that tiny little speck of pan in there. It's so shiny. Look at it. Ah! So I was going to record this update on Thursday, and I was just not feeling motivated. I was like, you know what? I have a video still in the queue that I can just edit and throw up. I don't need to record today. And then yesterday I hit pan on this and I was like, oh, okay, we're recording. We're recording an update. We are recording an update. This is a bronzer that many panners have put in a project pan and failed to hit their goal on by the end of the year. So I'm really excited that it took me 8 months to hit pan on this. And a large part of why I was in fact able to hit pan on this is that this was my only bronzer until mid-late July. So pretty much anytime I was wearing bronzer, and I was wearing bronzer a lot because I am goal-oriented. If I have a purpose to using something, I will use it a lot. So this has been in the project and from day one, from January, and I have used it a lot. I have used it almost every time that I've worn makeup, unless I was going for a less makeup kind of look. And yeah, I have only not worn this pretty much on days that I wasn't wearing makeup for, 8 months. And I hit pan on the last day of August. So that is very exciting. This is going to be rolled out because I have hit my goal. Oh my goodness. All right, let us move on to other things that I have made progress on, and it is relatively exciting. Let's do this next, actually. This is my body lotion that I keep beside my bed. I use it primarily on my hands because that's the thing that has the most problem with dryness for me. If I let my skin get too dry, I can have an eczema flare, and that's another reason. This is a really nice moisturizer. I actually have not looked at the ingredients list since starting to watch Dr. Dre. Link in the cards. And I am just looking at this. It has good things. It has water and glycerin as the first ingredients. It has humectant. It has petrolatum, which is a good occlusive, so that stops the water from evaporating. Dimethicone, that's another occlusive. It doesn't have a lot of emollients in it, so it's not going to improve the feeling of the skin very rapidly, but it is going to do actual good things like attract and keep moisture in the skin itself. It does have fragrance in it. So that's another reason that I would not buy this. As someone who is eczema prone, I would not repurchase this this lotion, because it's, one, Jergens is not cruelty free, and two, fragrance is really bad for my skin. Like, if I have an eczema flare, putting anything with fragrance on it will make my eczema immediately worse. And I knew this, but I didn't know that this had fragrance in it. It's about halfway down the list of ingredients. It's just not something, it's near the end of ingredients, but still, this is not great for eczema prone skin, it turns out. It's just good for dry skin. So, happy to use it up. Very happy to get it moved out of my collection. I will say that since it is a health concern, I am not as strict when I'm repurchasing a lotion to sit beside my bed and use every night on my very dry skin. I am not necessarily going to hold absolutely to this has to be cruelty free, because I have discovered that it is really difficult to find lotions, face washes, anything that don't have fragrance in them. And if I have an eczema flare, it's really important that I have something that I can put on my hands that doesn't have fragrance in it, because it's such a bad irritant for my eczema prone skin. So, I'm probably going to replace this with Vanicream, because it's one of the things that is a really good moisturizer, and I can, sit it beside my bed and have a really nice solid lotion to put on my hands and keep them from getting dry and irritated. And that the fragrance probably explains why my hands well, the fragrance and the lack of emollients probably explains why my hands persistently feel a little bit dry, even though I have been really good about using this every single night. Speaking of being really good about using it every single night, last month I had no progress at all. I didn't even mark it. But then this month I used up slightly more than I did the month before that. So this was June? Yeah, July I had no progress, and then for my August progress I have even slightly more than I did in June. So I am progressing well on this, and when I replace it, I am going to replace it with something fragrance-free, and if I can find something that's cruelty-free and fragrance-free, I will replace it with that because that is a priority. But if not, I will replace it with a Vanicream lotion because I know that those are fragrance-free and health concerns. All right, so that is that update. Good progress. Another thing that is good progress. This is my perfume. This is Lancôme La Vie Est Belle. So this is where I started. I'd already used a lot of it. This is in my project pan because I don't really like the smell of it anymore. It's just over... It's about a year and a half old at this point. The color has started to change a little bit. It was pink, now it's kind of an orangey pink. So that's probably part of why it's not smelling great to me anymore. And it's not cruelty free. Lancôme sells in China. So I want to use this up and get it out of my collection. And I am making good progress on that. I do have to, I can tolerate it for the day, but I do find that I have to, if I've sprayed it on my skin, I have to wash it off my skin before I go to sleep because it like it smells good to me for an amount of time. Like it smells like perfume, tolerable, stuff. And then after a length of time it starts to get cloying. So it lasts really well on me, but that's kind of a bad thing because it lasts so long that it becomes cloying and heavy, and I have to wash it off or I'll get nauseous when I lay down. Because if you can't tell from my voice, I have chronic sinus problems because I am a walking pharmacology. Okay. Next thing that I have made good progress on, this is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer. I use this as a finishing powder. This is in the shade Reserve Your Cabana. It is a finishing powder on me. Oh, look, there's pan. My goal on this is to use it up, not to hit pan, but isn't that satisfying? Isn't it? Isn't it satisfying? All right. I was considering rolling this out and throwing it away because I have found that if I use too much of it, it can get really heavy on my skin and it looks powdery and it makes my foundation not last as well. But September is the last month of the quarter, so if I'm still feeling this way and haven't used it up by the end of September, I will roll it out then. In the meantime, I'm trying to use it just very lightly. I do enjoy the effect of just buffing a tiny bit over my bronzer and blush to soften edges and give a little bit of pearlescent glow to the skin. So this, it's on notice. But I am relatively enjoying it as a finishing powder, and I do find that it works reasonably well in addition as an under eye setting powder, which my other setting powder, which is the Cover Effects Mineral Foundation, it's in N10. It only works if I'm trying to set the e.l.f. concealer, which I have in a shade that's too light for me. Otherwise, it'll darken my under eyes to the point that they're too dark. And I also have the BareMinerals Mineral Veil, and I can't use that as a setting powder because it will travel up into my eyes and like coat my contacts and stuff like that, and that's not good. So this is an acceptable setting powder if I need to set an emollient concealer, which is not the e.l.f. concealer, which I need to correct the color of. My shade in the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer is not my shade. The shade that I have, which is too light for me, is Fair Warm. Warm because I like my concealers to have a yellow undertone because I find that they correct overall better. Okay, good progress. Last thing probably that has good progress on it. This is my Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation in Swan. I am trying to use this up because it is too dark and too yellow for me. I really like the formula though. Since starting to watch Dr. Dre, I am even less inclined to think that I need a summer foundation. I never really need a summer foundation because I don't change color that much. But also, she has convinced me that I need to wear sunscreen and not, make an attempt not to change color at all. Okay, so I really enjoy the formula of this. When I bought it, it was the lightest shade. I now have the shade Cloud, which I'm using to mix with this and get it to be the right color. So this is where I was last month, this bend here, and then I forced it to fold over this morning and I marked it where it is now, and you can see that I have made quite a bit of progress by using it basically every day. But this is still probably to the end of the year sort of thing. It just probably is, because I don't use, this is me using foundation every day, right? This progress from here to here. This is me wearing foundation basically every day and basically always wearing this. It's gonna take me forever. And by that, I mean until December. Okay. On to the things that don't have provable progress. Alright. I have striven to be a good YouTuber this time, and I have created a tracking sheet. However, I created this morning, so I can't actually track progress on these from months past. So, this is Fastlane, and this is Camo, and you can see that I have used Fastlane not very much, and I have used Camo an awful lot. There's about half an inch left, 3/4 of an inch maybe, of Camo, whereas there is, an inch and a half left of Fastlane, this black and teal. These count as one item. If you are not familiar from previous updates, So I'm not going to roll something else in until I use up both of these. But for current reference, this is where Fastlane is. So it's 4.5 squares of graph paper. And this is where Camo is. It is 2 and a bit. 2 1/3 maybe. So I can actually do the calculation because, graph paper is a standard size. But I'm not going to do that right now because I didn't do it in the past, and I don't think I need to hang up the video while I'm making calculations. Just more to edit. We don't need to do that. Alright, and then this is the current status of the Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Pencil. I use this to brighten my inner rim of my eye. It's a really good color for that, just to, add a little bit of brightness, cover redness, make you look more awake, that kind of thing. That is what I use this for. This and the Wet n Wild Color Icon bronzer are in the project because I put them in when we discovered that Wet n Wild was selling in China, and I was like, nope. If you sell in China, you're not cruelty free. I don't care how many hoops you went through to try and make sure that you're not actively testing on animals. Okay, so you can see this line. This one up here is where we currently are. And then this I kind of estimated. This is my goal. So my goal is to impinge on this little PETA bunny that says cruelty free. So I kind of estimated based on how big the tip was, how much progress I would need to make on this. And it's a lot. I don't sharpen this pencil very much at all. Maybe twice a month. And I use this basically every day. I feel like just for hygiene purposes, I should sharpen it more often. So maybe I'll try to sharpen this once a week, and we will see how well I progress on this in the future. Okay. This is my current concealer. This is the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in Fair 04. You can see from the tube that this is where there's still concealer right here at the bottom, and then up here near the top it's changed color a lot because there's not a lot of product left in the, there's not a lot of concealer left in the tube up here, and two, the ColourPop things just don't stay good for that long. So that's why this is in the project. I haven't been using it because I have been the wrong color. Like when this shade actually matches my body, this highlights my under eyes and makes my dark circles look more prominent, not less prominent, which is not what I'm here for in a concealer. So this got bumped off the active use for about 2 months, but I think I'm adjusted back to being pale enough that I can focus on using this and use it up. I do not pop the seal out of concealers. I did it on the first concealer that I panned, and the stopper, the thing that scrapes off a little bit of extra product and stops it from getting super goopy. I don't pop that out. I know that you can get a lot more of the concealer, lip product, whatever, out if you do pop that out, but I find that the seal gets wobbly, and like for this concealer, the purpose is to use it up before it goes bad. So the last thing that I want to do is compromise the seal and let more oxygen into it, right? So once this is used to the point that I would have to pop the stopper out, I'm going to consider it done, because that's how I work with the concealers. All right, one more thing, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. This is my blush. I have been using it diligently. Can you tell? Not any more than you could any other month. I know. I know. This was a basically new blush when I put it into the project in January. I had been working on it for 8 months. I cannot dig my brush in to this and really layer it on, unlike I do with the butter bronzer. Like, the butter bronzer is light enough that I can pile it on and then just soften the edges with my foundation sponge or with a little bit of finishing powder. This, I dip it in once, maybe twice, and then I have to soften it. So it's a good color for me. It has definitely converted me to wearing blush pretty much every day. It is actively hard for me not to put blush on if I am wearing makeup at all. So, no progress. But still happy that this is in the project and happy to keep using it. Alright, and now for the most exciting thing. This is the thing that I'm rolling in to replace the bronzer. I decided that I missed having a highlighter in. And a lot of people have mentioned that liquid drops with this style of dropper frequently go bad a lot faster than you would expect, because something about the seal makes it not last. Like, it can sometimes be faulty, and then the product can dry out and basically set inside the tube instead of remaining liquid. So I got this little deluxe size of Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in Moonlight. It's this nice shiny gold. I am wearing it today. Not a ton of it, but I am wearing it. I find that it blends really nicely into the skin and gives a nice glow, or you can build it up and make it very Tin Man. I have marked where it currently is. That's where it, that's where it's basically full. I have used it, but not very much. So that is, basically where the deluxe sample comes to when it is full. The goal is approximately to use it up. I won't be super sad if I don't use it up, but I kind of felt like having a cute little highlighter, a cream highlighter. It does go over powder pretty well. I had run this over my cheeks as finishing powder, and then I decided to put this on top, and it blended fine and didn't pick anything up. So I think this will be a nice, easy to use highlighter, and I want to get some use out of it so that it doesn't dry up without me using it. Alright, so that is all. That was my Project Pan update. I hope you enjoyed or learned something, or both. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you feel like, and goodbye for now.